Hey everyone, welcome back to K-Korner, the channel where we dive into the wild world of entitled people and their unbelievable stories. Hope you enjoy it. And without further ado, let's go. In 2016, I bought a house, and less than a month later, my brother was evicted because the rental was being sold. He had just experienced a serious health issue and was not cleared to return to work, so I allowed him to move in with me. During this time, his children's mother had issues with their oldest child, a 14-year-old boy, and told the police she'd rather face child abandonment charges than have him in her home. So I stepped up and let him move in. The issue was that he didn't like his mother's habits and was very vocal about it. During this period, my brother got a job that required a lot of travel, so my nephew stayed with me, and both parents notarized a paper giving me authority over him and to act as a parent for school, etc. Less than a year later, the younger son was also kicked out, and he moved in with me. My house only had 3 bedrooms, so I ended up using the living room as my bedroom. Both boys stayed with me off and on until after COVID-19. My brother got a girlfriend and moved into her place, but it wasn't big enough for the kids too. By that point, the oldest was over 18, and the younger was just a few months away from being an adult. During the time my brother and his boys stayed with me, they brought all kinds of stuff to my house. They had multiple trucks they got cheaply to fix and resell, used tires and other auto parts, tools, etc. At one point, they had over a half-dozen vehicles sitting in my yard. My neighbors started to show their displeasure with the situation, and I'd end up cleaning up their mess. This went on for a couple of years. They would drag stuff here, and I would end up cleaning up the mess they made of my property. I kept asking them nicely to get their stuff off the property, but I never pushed hard. However, this year was the final straw. In March, I got notice from the county to clean it up, or I was going to get fined. I was able to get it clean enough that I didn't get fined, but once again, I did 90% of the cleanup, and very little of it was mine. So I decided enough was enough. I told both nephews they had until 6 p.m. on May 31, 2024, to get their stuff off my property, or it would be forfeit. They've come a couple of times and gotten stuff, but every time they complain about the deadline and try to make me feel sorry for them, claiming they don't have a way to haul stuff or a place to put it. I tell them every time that I don't care. They have had years to get their stuff, and I'm not giving them an extension. Now the younger one is posting on Facebook, griping about a certain someone who is selling his stuff and throwing it away and won't give him time to get it. I'm blocked from seeing these posts, but my sister has seen them, and everyone who knows the boys knows they have stuff stored at my place. On top of everything else, I always told the boys they were not allowed to bring anyone to my house without approval. They did it anyway, and brought people they knew were thieves or involved with drugs. I've had a bunch of stuff stolen. A 4x8 utility trailer, a generator, a post auger I never even got out of the box before it was gone, tons of tools. Someone even stole the starter from under my truck and broke into my truck and stole some new parts one had to install. Then, on the Saturday before Mother's Day, I woke up to find my motorcycle gone. I have another week for the police to investigate before insurance will make a decision, and I have had to bum rides this entire time. My sister can't believe the way our nephews are acting and talking about me, given everything I've done for them. I'm just so fed up that I'm on the verge of going low contact for a while. These nephews of mine are the most entitled jerks I've ever dealt with. Edit to add. They no longer live here because I'm getting so many replies saying kick them out. They are both adults now. Again, a bunch of replies telling me to dump them on their parents. This happened today, and to be honest, I can't do anything but laugh at how ridiculous it is. Just for context, I am a server at a restaurant, you know, that pancake place. I've been working there for over a year, gaining my coworkers and supervisors' friendship. Today, since it is the weekend, it was a pretty busy day, but not as busy as most weekends. The day was as usual. I took my break, and when I came back to work, I took a couple of tables in my section. One of the parties I took was this lady we are going to call Karen, a woman in her 30s, who, to be fair, didn't look like a typical Karen. Piercings, black eyeshadow, black dyed hair, and really tight clothes. The lady was accompanied by a man, but he didn't participate much. Here is the cast. Karen plays as Karen. Old man plays as the old man. Supervisor plays as the supervisor. Manager in training plays as the manager in training. Co-workers play as my co-workers. I play as myself. I started my routine as usual, asking what they wanted to drink, in this case 2 sodas. After bringing them the sodas, I started taking their order. "Are you ready to order?" Old man: "Yes." "May I have the combo with over-easy eggs and wheat toast?" Me: "Of course." To Karen: "And what can I do for you?" Karen: "I'd like the order of 2 strawberry French toasts. Does that come with sausage, eggs, and hash browns?" Me: "No, but I can offer you the French toast combo, which comes with 1 slice of French toast, eggs, bacon or sausage, and hash browns." Karen: "And that comes with white toast?" Me: "No, but in that case I can offer you the 2 slices of French toast you asked for plus the classic combo, which comes with eggs, bacon or sausage, hash browns, and toast." Karen: "I'll have the French toast and the same thing my dad ordered but with scrambled eggs, sausage, and white toast." Me: "Okay, to confirm, he got the combo with over-easy eggs, and you got the French toast, a combo with scrambled eggs and sausage." Karen: "No, he got the over-easy eggs, I got the scrambled ones." Me: confused, but assuming Karen didn't understand me when I said he and you. "Okay, anything else I can get you?" Karen: "Yes, is the fruit free?" Me: visibly confused, "Sorry, no." Karen growls: "And what about the salad, is that free?" Me: "Neither is that." Karen clearly irritated: "Then that will be all." Me: "Okay, just to confirm, old man got the over-easy egg combo, while you got the 2 slices of French toast and scrambled eggs combo." Karen growls: "Old man." "That's correct." After that, I went to place their order in the system since I wanted the food to come out as soon as possible, to avoid this lady getting mad. I was planning to get their silverware after placing their order. After placing their order, something that didn't take me more than 3 minutes according to the clock, I went to get their silverware. But on the way I crossed paths with Karen, who was angry. Karen, very derogatory and pushing her nail into my chest: "You forgot about our silverware." Me: "Just wanting to finish with this, I'm so sorry." After that, Karen went to her table, and I went to the kitchen to finish the order. When I entered the kitchen, I heard 2 of my co-workers talking. Coworker 1: "OP's table is very rude. The lady cornered me when I was going to one of my tables, demanding I give her silverware. I was lucky I had some spare." Coworker 2: "Ouch. I feel bad for Op. I wish him good luck with them." I saw how rude they were with the hostess. As soon as the food was ready, I took it to Karen. I was missing one of the toasts, but the cooks were preparing it, so I thought no big deal. Once I took their food, the table next to them asked me for 2 cups of water, so I went to get it. As soon as I entered the kitchen to get the waters, I got called by a coworker. Coworker 3: "Op, is Karen's table yours?" Me: "Yes." Coworker 3: "They are asking for their server." I went to check what was happening. Me: "Is there anything wrong?" Karen, irritated: "Are you our waitress?" Mumbles: "I thought it would be a woman." Points to the scrambled eggs: "Do these come with a French toast? Because I can't find it on the menu, and I don't want to pay for anything that is not free." Me: "No, ma'am. You ordered 2 slices of French toast and then you ordered the same order as your partner but with scrambled eggs, sausage, and white toast. I'm coming back with the white toast." Karen mumbles: "You don't know how to do your work, do you? I never ordered this, I thought it was free with the French toasts." Old man quietly mumbles: "Yes, you ordered that." Me: "No, I asked you multiple times and explained to you, and you agreed." Karen: "It's not my problem that you don't know how to listen. I won't be paying for it." Me: "Okay, I'll take it away." By that time, my supervisor and a couple of coworkers already knew what was happening with Karen. I went to the kitchen, and a couple of minutes later, the manager in training called me. "Manager in training, Karen is complaining a lot. Take most of the items off the check." And supervisor: "No, she has to pay. Op did nothing wrong." Manager in training: "But we need to take the items off, or else she will call the head office and..." Supervisor: "No, because if we keep giving free food, more people will start acting rude and complaining so they can get free food." turns to me. You can stop being attentive with that table, and don't give them any discount or anything. You would believe this is the end, right? The supervisor took care of Karen. She paid her bill and yelled, "I'm never coming back to this place," right? Well, no. A while later, my supervisor came to me with a $100 bill and the check. In our restaurant, servers take care of the cash from their tables, and at the end, they pay the total cash sales. I took them the change and was walking away without making eye contact. But before leaving, I saw Karen snatching the ticket from old man and desperately counting the money. I entered the kitchen, and Karen started screaming and entered the kitchen, pushing everyone in her path. Karen, "What the heck is this, coworker 4? It's your change and bill, supervisor. You are not getting anything free." To me, "Call the police." Karen throws the coins at us while screaming unrecognizable words. I started going to the front to call the police while Karen was screaming words I couldn't recognize. I'll assume because English is not my first language, and it costs me when people talk too fast. The screams were still very loud at the front of the restaurant, drawing the attention of all the customers, servers, hostesses, cleaning staff, and even the pictures on the wall. Then Karen finally got out of the kitchen, screaming, "Karen, what are all of you just standing around watching? Call 911. I'm being assaulted and harassed." Karen finally got out of the restaurant and stayed in front, watching and calling someone on the phone. I went back to make sure my parties were all right, and they tried to cheer me up, saying I do great work. When I went back to the kitchen, my coworkers told me what happened. Apparently, Karen started threatening them that her boyfriend would come and attack us later that day. Spoiler, he never appeared. The backstory is that I have an annoying cousin, Louise, who is heavily into competitive child raising and off-roading her four-wheel drive in my front garden. She's no longer allowed on our property. I don't speak directly to Louise anymore, but I do speak to her mother, Auntie Dot, and my fiancé, Martin, is friends with Louise's husband, Mike. I don't work on Thursdays, so I was still getting dressed when I heard a car and some voices. My cat sprinted off the bed and hid in the bathroom about a nanosecond before my cousin's children, an 8-year-old boy and a 6-year-old girl, burst in. I have no idea why they weren't at school. My fiancé was just behind them, looking a bit panicked, a very unusual state for him. Apparently, Louise had to take Auntie Dot to the hospital, and urgently needed someone to look after the kids. Martin, being the compassionate soul that he is, agreed. So we spent the morning looking after the children and our own toddler daughter. Just after lunch, healthy and nutritious, Martin tried ringing Louise to get a progress report. There was no answer. No big deal, they were in a hospital. But he thought he'd try ringing Louise's husband, Mike, to see if he'd heard anything. It turned out Mike had no idea the kids were with us. They were supposed to be with his mother. The hospital visit was an outpatient clinic for Louise, not an urgent trip for Auntie Dot as implied. Auntie Dot was there for moral support. Mike offered to come and collect the children, but since he's self-employed and was working on a site about 2 hours away, we agreed to keep the children for the rest of the day. Mike called back and said Louise would collect the kids at 5 p.m. I was fuming. Louise had lied and taken advantage, managing to worm her way back into our lives. So I decided to play dirty. Literally. I took the children for a walk to the park while Martin took our daughter to do some shopping. It was a nice winter's day, and the kids ran around, fell over, climbed on all the play equipment, jumped in all the muddy puddles, and found a heap of treasures to put in their pockets to show their mum. We washed their faces and hands afterward and cleaned their shoes as best we could, but Louise hadn't provided a change of clothing. By the time she arrived at 6 p.m. on time for her, the children were tired, happy, hungry, and absolutely filthy, eager to show off their treasures. Louise, on the other hand, was not happy and made the children leave their treasures on the nature strip, dirtying their hands again. Then, when the kids were strapped into their car seats, it was time to enact the final part of my petty revenge. Martin produced the shopping I'd asked him to get and gave them a paper bag each. I explained they were a little treat for the journey home, to tide them over. Inside each bag was a sweet bun, known in our house as instant diabetes. They are filled with strawberry jam, iced with gooey pink icing and liberally dusted with desiccated coconut. According to my dad, by the time they reached home, the children were covered in jam and icing as well as dirt, and they didn't want dinner. My kids ate their veggies, Louise. The back seat of Louise's car was also covered in dirty, sticky fingerprints and coconut. Apparently Louise is not happy, and even though she's vacuumed, she's still finding little shreds of coconut in the back seat. And oh dearie me, so sad, we're never allowed to look after her kids ever again. Ever. This story happened during my time working at Home Depot, about 2 or 3 years ago, and it wasn't the first time I had people make racist remarks towards me. I had been at work for a while, and don't remember if I had just started my shift or was ending. I just remember standing at my register when my coworker, whom I'll call Brooklyn, gently tapped me on the shoulder and asked, "Hey, my customers don't speak much English. Can you see if you can help me out?" Luckily, the elderly couple were speaking Hmong while waiting for us to come over. I agreed to take over the transaction for Brooklyn, and she'd watch over my register until I finished because I've grown comfortable acting as a translator for elderly Hmong customers or anyone who would rather speak our native language instead of English. Not long after I finished their transaction and started heading back to my register, I heard a very entitled throat clearing followed by excuse me, along with finger snapping from behind me. Brooklyn and I saw Karen standing at her register with a smug look, saying, "Well, I'm waiting for my stuff to be rung up." Brooklyn quickly went over, and Karen said, "Yeah, why isn't she coming back to ring me up?" Brooklyn replied. She was helping the previous customers because they have a language barrier. "This is actually my register," Karen responded. "That's not an excuse to ignore me like that. I'm a customer too. Does she have something against American people?" "From my register," I said. "No, I was only asked to finish her transaction for the customer. I came back because that's all I was asked to do." Also, Karen didn't walk up until after I walked away, or else I would have turned around to ring her up. By the time we noticed Karen, Brooklyn was a few steps away, hence why she quickly went over to ring Karen up. Karen, not happy with my answer, started grumbling something under her breath, so I didn't exactly hear what she was saying until she said loudly, "Your kind is the reason we bombed Japan." Brooklyn and I stopped what we were doing and stared at Karen, baffled by what she had just said. Karen smirked and asked me, "What? It's true. Japanese people attacked us first." I started to get mad, not because of that fact, but due to Karen assuming I was Japanese because I was Asian and implying that I was a racist. I said, "I wasn't even born when that happened. Don't blame what happened in the past on me. I'm just doing what my coworker asked of me, and I didn't ignore you. You walked up when I had already walked away," Karen retorted. "Oh, scary Japanese girl is telling me what to do and claiming her kind isn't at fault for Pearl Harbor." Seeing red, I said firmly, "I'm Hmong, not Japanese. Learn your Asian races," Karen, shocked that I stood up to her, replied. "Hmong isn't a race. You clearly made that up." Suddenly, Sally, our supervisor and head cashier, who overheard what was said as she was walking over, interjected. Hey, break it up," Karen demanded. "You need to teach that racist Japanese employee of yours to be respectful or I'll report both of you to corporate." Brooklyn said. "She wasn't even being disrespectful. She was just correcting you about," Karen interrupted. "Oh, now you're ganging up on me. You're an American too. Why are you siding with that Japanese person?" Sally firmly stated. "Leave. I'm not going to stand by you harassing my cashiers," Karen stammered. But why are you?" Sally continued. Dragon_Crystal was asked by her fellow co-worker to assist them, and that's what she did. Then you come over, demanding she ring up your stuff rudely, and then make racist insults towards Asians. I'm not going to let that happen. Leave now." Karen left her cart and stormed towards the door, saying, "I'll be reporting this to Human Resources. You'll be jobless by tomorrow, you Japanese immigrant." I yelled back to her, "I'm an American-born Hmong citizen and raised here, silly," which made Karen give me a surprised look as she disappeared outside. I honestly thought I was going to get a write-up for calling a customer silly, since I'm normally a calm and collected person, only to be followed by Sally doubling over laughing because she wasn't expecting me to slip in that last part. I was allowed to go on break to cool off after dealing with Karen. That was luckily the only time I saw Karen. I'm sure she was banned. Enjoying the stories yet? If you do, please subscribe, like, and comment. Here's some background info. I go to university in Florida, but my family lives in New Jersey, so I frequently fly between the two. It was inevitable that I would eventually encounter an entitled mother on a plane. One more quick bit about me, before we get into the story. I'm 21 years old, but when I'm clean-shaven, which is rare, I look significantly younger. I happened to shave a few hours before my flight, a detail that becomes relevant later when Karen mistakes me for a teenager. Me. Obviously. Karen. Obviously. Flight attendant. Flight attendant, random passenger. Random passenger on the other side of the aisle, Army dude. Army dude, this happened in the first week of May when my spring semester ended. I never pay extra to choose my own seat, so I always get one assigned to me. I was flying with Spirit Airlines. I usually fly with them or Frontier, and this is how seating works for them. As a result, I usually end up in a middle seat, since those who choose their own seats never pick that. However, I was lucky enough to score a window seat this time. The window seat is my favorite plane seat. Enter Karen and her son. Karen looks exactly how you would expect, and her son is most likely no older than 8 years old. Neither of them made any effort to greet me or introduce themselves, which I didn't mind since I didn't try to talk to them either. I was already playing The Binding of Isaac on my Nintendo Switch with earbuds in, signaling that I wasn't in the mood to socialize. My flight was early in the morning, and I was very tired. Karen sat in the aisle seat and her son sat in the middle between us. For those of you who have never heard of The Binding of Isaac, it's a mature-rated video game with some mild cartoony graphics. It shouldn't even be rated mature if you ask me. However, not if you ask Karen. About a half hour into the flight, I felt a tap on my left shoulder. I was sitting on the right side of the plane. I took my left earbud out and turned to Karen, and this conversation started. Me. Yeah, what's going on? Karen. Excuse me, would you mind playing a different game? Me. Why, Karen? My son is watching you play, and that game is creeping him out. It isn't appropriate for him. It's the only game I have, so there isn't really anything I can do about that. Of course, this was a lie. Anyone who knows me knows that I have an active and enthusiastic hobby of game collecting. But Karen didn't need to know that. I just didn't see the reason to let the way I entertain myself be dictated by an 8-year-old, especially one I've never met and never will meet again. Karen. Sure there is, you can stop playing. Me. And sit here for 2 hours staring out the window with no other way to entertain myself. If it's all the same to you, I'd rather not. At this point, Karen is starting to raise her voice. Karen, well, it's not the same to me. You need to learn to be aware of children around you. A bit more background information about myself. I spend a lot of my time growing up around my little brother and other children in my family who were considerably younger than me. Every time I wanted to do something I enjoyed, my parents would always make me dumb it down somehow because I needed to include the other kids. So I've grown to resent commands like this, and hearing one from a stranger caused me to grow especially hostile. Oh yeah, and I don't particularly like kids. Me. No, I don't. Your son needs to learn that the world doesn't revolve around him and not to poke his nose around where it doesn't belong. In hindsight, I was quite rude, but I don't have the greatest social skills. Also, Karen was rude first, and much more so, as you'll see later in the story, so I like to think I was justified. Karen. How dare you talk back to an adult that way? Me. I give my peers the same amount of respect they give me. I've done nothing but sit here and mind my own business, and I would appreciate the same courtesy. Karen. I'm not one of your peers. I'm not a teenager. Me. Those statements contradict each other. I'm an adult too. Karen. No, you're not. Are you trying to argue with me over my own age? Karen. Then prove it to me. My first idea was to just say no and try to drop this foolish conversation. But then I realized that she would probably keep bugging me if I did, and my best chance at ending this was proving her wrong, so I took out my driver's license. I began to reach over to hand it to her, but she impatiently snatched it from my hand. "Karen, this is fake. My husband is a police officer. I'm having you arrested when he picks us up at the airport." Me. "Well, it's real. So have fun wasting both of our family's time." In Karen's defense, I was named after my dad, who was named after his dad, who was named after his dad. So my name does sound like that of an older person, and is very rare in my generation. So I guess it's somewhat plausible for her to think that I got a fake ID with an older person's information on it. Karen. "No, it's not. I bet you use this to get into bars just like everyone else your age." Me. "Well, yes, I do use my ID to get into bars, and so do most other 21-year-olds, so that makes perfect sense to me." Karen. "Shut up, you criminal. I'm not giving it back." Me. "That's some intense language. You need to learn to be aware of children around you." Karen was clearly furious but didn't even want to entertain me with a response, so I didn't say anything else either. At this point, she was quite literally stealing my ID, and I obviously had to do something about it. So I decided to wait for a flight attendant to come by so I could tell them what was going on. In the meantime, I decided to continue playing The Binding of Isaac, knowing full well that this would irritate Karen since it was the original root of the situation, and it visibly did. However, instead of saying something to me again, she decided to push the button that summons flight attendants. In hindsight, I should have done that when she stole my license, but I forgot that was an option at the time. I had my earbuds attached to the game as usual, but this time the volume was all the way down so I could eavesdrop while looking like I had no idea what was going on. Enter flight attendant. Karen. "Excuse me, that kid in the window seat is disturbing my son. Please make him stop." Flight attendant looks at me skeptically. "He doesn't look like he's disturbing anyone." Karen. "Yes, he is. He's playing an inappropriate game, and my son is watching. Make him stop." Flight attendant. "There isn't a policy against video games as long as they're in airplane mode. If your son doesn't like the game, he shouldn't be watching it." Karen is probably about to say something, but now I decide to butt in. Me. "Does that mean that there isn't a policy that allows someone to steal my driver's license if I'm playing a game she deems inappropriate?" Flight attendant. No, there's nothing like that." Me. "Well, clearly she didn't get the memo." Flight attendant turns to Karen. "Ma'am, did you steal his driver's license?" Karen. "What? No, how dare you accuse me of such a thing? Are you really going to believe a kid over me?" I give flight attendant a smirk, and she shoots me back an understanding smirk. At this point, she realizes that she'll need to appease Karen until the time is right. Flight attendant. "Okay, ma'am, give me a few minutes to speak to the captain. I'll see what I can do about your situation." Flight attendant walks away and comes back to our row a few minutes later. Flight attendant. "There's a seat available in first class, or whatever Spirit calls those seats. I'm usually not allowed to usher passengers there, but we can make an exception after what you've had to deal with." Karen. "Oh, thank God, this rotten teenager has been ruining my flight." Flight attendant. "I wasn't talking to you, ma'am." Looks over at me. "Sir, would you like to move up to first class with no extra charge?" I flash a grin at Karen, then look to flight attendant and subtly shrug as I say, "Me. Well, if you insist, how can I say no?" Flight attendant. "Great. And also, ma'am, it would probably be in your best interest to give him back his driver's license." Karen. "He's lying. Why would I want a teenager's ID?" Enter random passenger, who stands up and starts talking to flight attendant. Random passenger. "Excuse me, ma'am. I've been listening to what's been going on. This woman demanded to see his ID and then loudly announced that she wasn't giving it back." Karen. "He's lying," turns to random passenger. "Of course you would take his side, you sexist. Now shut up and mind your own business." Now, two other nearby passengers stand up and start to take my and random passenger's side. And the best part, they're both women. Now Karen can't even play the sexism card. Flight attendant. "If you stole his driver's license, please give it back before you create more problems for us and our passengers and get arrested for theft when we land in Atlantic City." Karen, you can't arrest me. My husband is a police officer, and I'll have you fired for disrespecting me and my family. Flight attendant, if your husband really is a police officer, he can pick you up from the Atlantic City jail instead of the airport, assuming he doesn't agree that you belong there. I will have you arrested if you don't give that man back his license. Karen reluctantly handed me back my license, but that wasn't the end of it. Now the dude sitting in front of her, Army dude, stood up and started to talk to the flight attendant. Army dude, excuse me ma'am. I'm in the Army. Would you like me to report this to the Atlantic City Police Department if she keeps being an issue? Flight attendant, thank you for your service, but that won't be necessary. We'll have officers ready to escort her out as soon as we land. Karen mutters something that I can't make out and is clearly trying to turn her face away from everyone else. Army dude sits back down, and flight attendant turns back to me. Flight attendant, right this way, sir. I follow flight attendant up to the first-class seat she mentioned earlier. I had a whole row to myself in first class for the last half hour of my flight. Flight attendant even gave me a free drink. Not too long after we landed, I saw 2 police officers enter the plane and drag Karen away while she was kicking and screaming. I laughed my butt off, then called my dad over, who had just picked me up, and told him everything. The moral of the story, asterisk. Don't ever call someone a liar, a criminal, or a teenager, just because they look like one if you're only making yourself look like a jerk. It might come back to bite you. Let's dive into the cast, shall we? Entitled Mother, M. Confused Kid, CK. Friend, F. Manager, M. Theater Worker, TW. And me, Ryan Reynolds Pikachu. 2 days ago, my friend and I went to the movie theater to see the new Detective Pikachu, a Pokemon movie in 3D. We had actually bought our tickets online 3 weeks in advance because we knew there would be a lot of people wanting to see it, and we were right. Our first encounter started as we were standing in line to scan the QR codes on our phones to verify that we had already reserved tickets, but the scanner was being slow. CK was silent during this encounter. Entitled Mother asterisk. Come on, hurry up, she said this in the most entitled voice I've ever heard. Theater Worker asterisk. I apologize, ma'am, but we're having a problem with the scanner and are trying to help this young man and his friend get their tickets. Bless this woman, she was so kind to us and to M. I don't know how she did it. Entitled Mother asterisk. I don't care, just hurry up and give me our tickets. Theater Worker asterisk. Ma'am, please try not to curse. There are children present, including your own son. Entitled Mother asterisk. Don't tell me how to parent. I'll speak as I want, then, as if divine intervention occurred. The scanner finally worked. My friend and I grabbed our tickets and quickly left. From behind us, we heard, I want to speak to your manager. We went to the snack counter, bought some candy and soda, and then headed to the theater room for our movie. 20 minutes later, while we were comfortably seated, I was in the handicap section because I recently fractured my ankle and am on crutches, and my friend was in the regular section 1 row in front of me. In came M and CK. Entitled Mother asterisk, pointing at us. What are you two doing here? Me asterisk. We're here to watch the movie, thinking to myself, not another one. I was hoping she wasn't coming to our movie. Entitled Mother asterisk. But you're both too old for this movie, and why are you in the handicap section? You're not even disabled. Me asterisk. Okay, first of all, no one's too old for this movie. There are even adults here without children. We are both 1'5". Secondly, showing my crutches and medical boot, I have a fractured ankle and therefore qualify for this seat. And lastly, you should never use that word, not even for mentally and developmentally challenged people. I'm sensitive to this because my sister has both bipolar disorder and autism. So would you kindly leave us alone? Confused Kid asterisk. Mommy, why are you yelling at the big kids? Are we still going to see Pokemon? Entitled Mother asterisk. Don't worry about it, sweetie. We'll see the Pokemon soon. What? Excuse me. Pokemon. Friend asterisk. Actually, ma'am, it's called Pokemon. Entitled Mother asterisk. Don't talk back to me. I'm your elder. Me and friend asterisk. Whoa there, lady. Calm down. Entitled Mother asterisk. "Stop cussing at me, and you," pointing at me, "you're probably faking," grabs one of my crutches and hits us with it. Thankfully the movie hadn't started yet, and was still showing previews. The manager showed up, probably due to the noise. Manager asterisk, "What's going on here?" "Oh, it's you again." Entitled Mother asterisk, "Hello, yes, I demand that you remove this faker and his friend." 1. I'm in extreme pain right now too. My friend is not my girlfriend or anything derogatory. Friend asterisk, "Actually sir, this woman has been harassing us and assaulted us with my friend's crutch." Manager asterisk, "Alright, that's enough lady. You're out of here. Radios for the front desk to call the police." Entitled Mother asterisk, "No, I just wanted to take my son to see the Pokemon movie," lunges at me, "and I use my other crutch to block her. The police showed up, we were questioned, and I didn't press charges because the movie was about to start, and I did not want to miss it. They arrested her, and the dad came by, got her ticket, and sat with us to enjoy the movie." I'm a 30-year-old female working in a small business. We have a manager who has been working here all her life. She has her favorites in the office. These favorites are allowed to break every rule and do whatever they want without being questioned. Those who are not her favorites are always under scrutiny and loaded with work responsibilities meant for her favorites. Since I started the job, for whatever reason, she made me the target of her hate. I am always respectful to her. However, she likes to make my life difficult over everything. Initially, I was given work responsibilities, equivalent to 4 people's work. Now, fast forward a few years, I am still doing the work of 2 people. She always throws tantrums every time I take a day off. She goes the extra mile to create issues on my days off, and blames everything on me. She even made issues when I was hospitalized, and asked our boss why I got special treatment. I am going on a long vacation. I had told our boss about my plans, and had it pre-approved even before making any bookings for my stay or tickets. I put it on the calendar 3 months in advance with a note that it was pre-approved. My manager was supposed to take extra time off so she could have an extra long weekend. However, our owner said she would be off that week as well. Our owner didn't ask the manager to cancel her time off, but the manager took it upon herself and canceled it. After doing that, she turned towards me and told me that since she had to cancel her time off, she was canceling my vacation as well, which is scheduled for 2 months from now. I looked at her and thought, what the heck? I went to her desk, which is right outside where our boss is, and told her that she may cancel it. But she has to refund the money I spent on booking my flights, stays, and activities, which are non-refundable and amount to $3,000 plus whatever my boyfriend spent too. This will need to come out of her pocket. Since our boss is not asking me to cancel, but she is. Our boss looked at us and just shrugged, knowing that she had been playing games with me from the beginning and not wanting to get involved. Guess what? I am still going on vacation. I am also going through everyday torture of her petty comments about my vacation, but I am going to count it as a small victory. Edit asterisk. For everyone who is confused about why I am not changing my job, I came here as a student, and now I am on a work visa. In order for me to continue working or to have a visa, the employer needs to go through a very complicated and expensive process through immigration. The process sometimes takes forever, and even though every document is correct, the visa application can get denied. Once denied, we cannot apply for 1 year, and we only get 60 days to leave the country. Also, if I get fired, then I get only 90 days to find a new employer or sponsor. The job role I have is not special, and most companies prefer to hire citizens or residents with work permits or green cards since it's the most cost-efficient way. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more captivating stories. Share your own experiences and opinions in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, stay tuned for more epic tales.